let's see what we got here. Just want to, do a brief introduction for the podcast and kind of let everybody know that this will be the new place for the Missouri Liberty Report we're getting off of Facebook and all that stuff because they're they're screwing me around basically. They're just screwing me around. And I'm a little sick and tired of it. So decided to come to YouTube and do it this way. And so I did, again, a brief introduction on myself. And so this podcast is dedicated to Missouri issues, especially when there could be legislation coming down that extends our freedoms out or takes them away. And we're trying to focus on the positive, but sometimes we have to also focus on the negative as well. So I do want to get into one thing. I think I bookmarked it, so let me make sure I bookmarked it. Looks like I did. And now where the heck did my... Interesting. I seem to have disappeared, yes. Oh, well. And so... Oh, and there we go. I'm echoing back through myself like some kind of moron. So let me pull this up. This is House Bill 2442 in the state of Missouri. And it looks like Representative Davis is wanting to move the concealed carry age down to 18 years old. Instead of, they've got 19 marked out, now it's 18. I thought the age used to be 21, and I could be wrong on that. But, so a concealed carry permit issued pursuant to subsection 7 of this section shall be issued by the sheriff or his or her designee of the county or city in which the applicant resides, if the applicant is at least 18 years of age, has assumed residency in the state, or is a member of the United States Armed Forces stationed in Missouri, or the spouse of such member of the military. But it looks like now, and it has not pled guilty or entered a plea of nolo contender or been convicted of a crime punishable by imprisonment, isn't a fugitive from justice. So it's the same thing. It's the same normal rules, but the age has changed on this, which is great. I mean, I'm glad that. If they're able to serve in the military, then they should be able to conceal carry. Now, it looks like also if you have a valid concealed carry endorsement, or a concealed carry endorsement, blah, 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 shall authorize any person to conceal firearms into... And it looks like... Okay. What in the heck is this? I'm trying to... Because it looks like... Okay. An employer may prohibit employees or other persons holding a concealed carry permit or endorsement from carrying a concealed firearm in vehicles owned by the employer. Carrying a concealed firearm in a location specified in subdivisions 1 to 17 of subsection 1 of this section by any individual who holds a concealed carry permit issued pursuant to sections 571.101, 571.121, or concealed carry, shall not be a criminal act, but may subject the person to denial to the premises or removal from the premises. So all these things are crossed out. I don't know if that means, oh, so it says any place where, I don't understand. He's got all these things marked out that, one of them is marked out as the General Assembly, Supreme Court, county, or municipality may by rule, administrative regulation, or ordinance prohibit or limit the carrying of concealed firearms by permit or endorsement holders in that portion of a building owned, leased, or controlled by that unit of government. Any portion of a building in which the carrying of concealed firearms is prohibited or limited shall be clearly identified by signs. See, all these things are marked out. And I don't know if they're saying that, if he's saying that all these things don't apply anymore, or if they do apply. So I'm going to have to try to get a hold of their office and see what that's about. Now, John Grady's saying HB 2704. Let me look that up real quick, and we'll see what this is about. HB 2704. Well, let's look at the text of this one. Okay, so I'm trying. Okay, so John, if you can help me understand, the Cannabis Freedom Act. That's not what I'm seeing in 2704. Let me see. Oh. This is HB 2704, but this has to do with federal income tax. Missouri adjusted gross income of a resident individual shall be the taxpayer's federal adjusted gross income subject to the modifications in this section. I get confused by the language. The Cannabis Freedom Act. Well, let's look that up then. Let's see if I can just look it up by cannabis. So I see a whole bunch, like 2733 establishes provisions legalizing cannabis for persons 21 years of age or older. Establishes and modifies provision relating to and this is 2869, relating to the legalization of marijuana for adult use. Proposes a constitutional amendment legalizing marijuana for adult use. So I'm not sure which one you're talking about, but there are several bills about legalizing marijuana here in the state of Missouri, which is fine by me. I'm okay with it if, I don't care if anybody else is okay with it. I'm okay with them legalizing marijuana across the board. We've talked about this several times on my podcast before. We all know this to be the fact. I hate the drug war. I hate the war on drugs, all that stuff. Oh, it's an omnibus bill. Okay. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out this. And to enact in lieu thereof 45 new sections relating to marijuana with penalty provisions. Excuse me. Let me see if I can find that part of it. Um, okay, so this is all. Okay. No, 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 no. Any other provision of law to the contrary, no state agency, including employees therein, shall disclose to the federal government, any federal government employee, or any unauthorized third party the statewide list, or any individual information of persons who have applied for or obtained a qualifying patient identification card, a qualifying patient cultivation identification card, or a primary caregiver identification card. Marijuana. Okay. Notwithstanding any provision under this chapter or any other provision of law beginning August 28, 2022, marijuana shall no longer be listed among Missouri's drug schedules and shall now no longer be considered a controlled substance or a drug. Ooh. Yeah, because, see, here's the thing. I believe it was a Schedule 1 drug, which is absolutely stupid. And it says it says shall no longer be considered a controlled substance or drug. The Department of Health and Senior Services shall place a substance in Schedule 1 if it finds that the substance has high potential for abuse and has no accepted medical use and treatment in the United States or lacks accepted safety for use and treatment under medical supervision. So oh my God, there's a lot of, look at all these drugs that are Schedule 1. Fentanyl. There's a lot of Schedule 1 drugs. And they've got marijuana in there, which is completely obnoxious. Also protects your Yeah, because now if you if you buy a gun, and it'll eliminate that question of, do you have a medical marijuana card? I know people that wanted medical marijuana but would not get it because they were afraid they were going to lose their guns. Now, here's the problem. Now, if you live in a state like Hawaii, when they passed medical marijuana, if the people that applied that had firearms and they knew they had them, they sent them a letter and said they had to give up those guns within so many days. Missouri did not do that. Hawaii was enforcing a federal law, but the feds have to. I mean, now, if Missouri chooses not to enforce that, the feds would have to come in and do it, and they don't have enough people. So Missouri really just doesn't even enforce that. As far as I know, I've not heard of anybody losing firearms due to having a medical marijuana card, which is awesome. That's what we want to. That's what we want to see. That Missouri just kind of ignores that and pretty much puts the onus on the feds to come in and. Oh, good Lord. Okay, that's enough of that. It puts the feds have to put the effort forth to enforce that rule, and they haven't. So, okay, cool. We don't have to worry about that either. But if this goes through, then they can't tell anybody you have a medical marijuana card. But again, we have several bills where they're discussing just legalizing marijuana for adults. So we'd have recreational and medical. And that's super outstanding. I mean, that's a no-brainer to me. Why you would, why wouldn't you have, why wouldn't you have that? I just don't. I don't understand why you wouldn't have both. I don't know. That just but the Schedule 1 thing is completely ridiculous. It has been forever, and I've stated that to a lot of people when we talk about this subject that they like to use the marijuana as a gateway drug, and really it's their fault because they go around, they tell all the kids that marijuana is super dangerous and blah blah blah, and the kids that try marijuana go, this isn't that bad, and then they think that since they were lied to about marijuana, that some of the other drugs aren't as dangerous as they said. And then that leads them into believing. But they got conned by the DEA and law enforcement and all that, and the Department of Health and Human Services, that marijuana was this terribly awful, dangerous drug. And of the opposition that spoke, one was from organization and didn't like the legalization component, but liked all the social justice components. The other opposition were current medical cannabis industry members. And that's all about money. They're worried about losing money. But in the end, you know, this is where government sucks, is that you have special interests come in, and yeah, we just passed medical marijuana a few years ago. I get it. And a show that I did years ago called Re-Education Radio, I discussed this topic, and I said, you know, I was talking then, and I'm talking, this is 10 years ago or better, probably longer than that. And I said, you know, I'd like to see Missouri have just legalized marijuana, but I knew it was going to be baby steps. Back then, we were seeing just a couple states like California had legalized medical marijuana, and I said, you know, I'll take baby steps. If we can get medical in and prove to people that there aren't going to be lazy potheads laying everywhere and just not going to work, then we could work on legalization, just complete legalization, and legalizing recreational. And that's the steps that a lot of states have to take. They have to introduce medical first, and then introduce recreational second. That's just common steps used by states to enact this type of law, or to no longer to end prohibition on marijuana. That's just, you know, yeah, marijuana is proving to be our founder's tea. Yeah, I mean, let's face it. We have to do something in Missouri as far as hemp growing too. I mean, to only be able to have a industrial growing, I think, is ridiculous. I think if people want to grow hemp, they should just be able to grow hemp. You know, especially now. See, I know what they were going to say. They were going to say, "Well, people would be growing hemp, and they were actually growing pot." Well, if you legalize recreational, that argument should go away. And you should be able to just, if you wanted to grow hemp for your own use, then you should be able to do it. You know, if you wanted to make oil from it, or whatever, a balm or whatever out of it, cold press it, get oil, whatever you want to do, or heat press it, I guess. If you want to grow hemp, you should be able to grow hemp as well. You should not have to be an industrial farm, or only allow industrial farming of hemp. They should just legalize it across the board if you want to grow hemp. Here, okay, so I'm going to tie this topic to another one that, you know, my listeners like John Grady here, they know I've been beating on this drum a lot. Again, we have a lot of legislators, especially in the rural parts of Missouri, who like to toot the horn of, I support the family farm. Okay, here's something else. They want to support family farms. Not only should they want to get rid of personal property tax, they should also want to allow farmers to grow hemp if they want to. That could be a very profitable industry for family farms. It doesn't take away from the nutrients of the soil as much. It grows fast. You know, and we're talking, how many products can you make out of hemp? Paper, clothes, hempcrete. You got CBD. There's all these different things that can be made from hemp. Rope. I mean, that's what our founders' rope was made out of hemp. Stuff's not going to break. I do not understand why. Well, I do understand. The cotton industry got mad, and so they put this prohibition on hemp. It was the cotton industry that felt threatened by hemp, so they did their little magic with lobbying. And while marijuana was, you know, they had prohibition on marijuana, hemp got thrown in the mix, and it made the cotton industry a lot of money. And I honestly think that still a lot of it is the cotton industry is, DuPont, some of these companies, hemp was a threat to their profits, so they lobbied and pressured the Congress into, prohibition on marijuana. Hemp was thrown in the mix. Even though you literally have to smoke a joint the size of a telephone pole to get high from hemp, this is the stupidity of what they did. So, I don't. It's all stupidity as far as government goes. It's normal behavior for government and the private public partnerships and the crony capitalism. But I would like to see Missouri just say, hey, you want to grow hemp? You're just a farmer and you want to grow hemp? Have at it. They're going to get family farms could make money. And on top of that, if I'm telling you, if we could eliminate the personal property tax and the ability for family farms, instead of having to depend on corn or soybeans, to grow hemp, maybe maybe there's a way to really help. I know the Delta 8 and Delta 10 strains are out there. And right now, I thought Delta 8 was marijuana, though, and that's just it's kind of went by the wayside. Maybe it is hemp. I'm not hip to all the different strains. I'm a former smoker, but you can plant hemp year after year. You don't have to rotate between corn and soybeans. You'd think in a world where environmentalism is this big thing, we're so worried about climate change and carbon emissions and all these things, you would think that they would want, these environmentalists would be pushing to grow more hemp, because you wouldn't be cutting down all the trees, right? And hemp grows way faster. The paper's better. The products you get from hemp are stronger. And again, it doesn't rob so much nutrients out of the soil to grow. So you would think that on top of these environmentalists and all these climate change crazies, especially in the Democrat Party, you'd think they'd be jumping up and down over this. They're not, because they don't get control of it. That's government's problem. If they can't control it and somehow make money off of it, which they do, they like to act like they don't, but they do, then they don't want any part of it. So that's the problem. That's something else we need to work on in Missouri. And I really made this video because I haven't posted any videos on YouTube in a long time, and the last ones I did was a few for my old show, The Push for Liberty. So I wanted to do kind of an introductory video, but I cannot wait to get. Now I forget his name. I feel like such a jerk. Let me look it up again. I'm an awful podcast host. I'm a little freaking tired tonight anyway, so you'll have to forgive me. Patrick Holland from the Missouri Freedom Initiative. I'm telling you, Mr. Grady, you've got to listen to this guy tonight or Friday night. This dude he's big time in the freedom movement in Missouri as far as working with state reps. He had a big role in SEPA, and I mean a big role. I had about an hour conversation with him Saturday night, and I am super excited because it sounds like he wants to work together and grow his group. And I'm sure this isn't a big deal to say. I'm going to let him tell the story, but when SEPA was being, it was on the floor in the state houses, and they were working through the votes, and so to get to the governor's desk, he got 600 phone calls made that evening. Because he has some anarchists in his group. He had anarchists who can't stand their state reps. He got anarchists to call up and say, you damn well better get this passed. That's the kind of potency this dude's got. This is the kind of firepower he's got. So I can't wait for my listeners to meet this guy, hear him talk. He's about it. I mean, he's about it. And I think I'm hoping that we can build some exciting bridges together as far as freedom goes in Missouri. I hope that we can blow his group up. I hope we can blow this podcast up and really get traffic moving for the message. And I'm hoping, because, you know, guys like John here, every week, they pretty much every week they tune in. I don't think John's ever really missed a week unless he just absolutely isn't around a phone or a computer. He's here every week. People like him who are loyal viewers of the live stream, and I have some loyal downloaders of the podcast and listeners on radio stations and internet networks that have stuck by me and with this thing. And I'm still a small organization, a small outfit, small podcast. But man, we can blow this up. And I'm really hoping this turns into something really big where we can all kind of join together and start bombarding state reps when they're doing something stupid. And I really, really hope that we can, my listeners and myself and this guy and his group, because, he said, we're a group, but we don't charge a membership fee. We don't have any of that. It's just people working towards a common goal of freedom. And he said everybody pretty much in his group are libertarian, sprinkled in with some anarchists. So that's got to be absolutely crazy. There you go. John with the bottle of whiskey to the cause. But I'm really hoping this turns into something huge. Because this podcast is slowly growing. And at first, I didn't feel like, oh, I'm just going to give up. But I'm like, this just doesn't seem to be going anywhere. And then interviewing certain people and getting to know other people. And I know some of those folks are dragging, they're bringing people with them. And I just had this feeling at some point things were going to expand. And the message was really going to start getting out. And there you go. Whiskey has fueled rebellions. Why not restorations? Hey, why not? Why not? But I really hope that my listeners, my viewers, along with this guy and his group, it would be great if we could combine forces and be a force to be reckoned with in the state of Missouri, because right now Missouri is the blueprint for SEPA. Now, when I talked to him, there were a lot of other states looking at also having their own Second Amendment Preservation Act, but as right now they're dying, and on the floor of other state houses, they're just bogged down. This guy and his group got it done, and I think that's something that we'd all like to be a part of, is grassroots. And, just blowing up phones of state reps and saying, if you don't do this, we'll find somebody who will. You will lose your seat. And that's the kind of pressure we got to put on. Screw the feds. Ignore the feds. If we can get March 29th. What day is that on, Mr. Grady? Is that it's probably during the week when I'm at work. Freaking Tuesday. Damn. Maybe if it's still going on when I get off work, I'll have to swing by. But yeah, that'd be something to be cool to be a part of. But yeah, I'm hoping like guys like John Grady, Jonathan Ashley, Duncan, Rick Combs, some of my other loyal viewers, Corey Chambers, some of these other guys. I hope that we can all, 9 a.m. Representative Ron Hicks and others will speak Tuesday. But I'm hoping that we can all like band together and really, really push some issues. And what about COVID, John? You said COVID question mark, and I don't know if it's something I said or like I said, I'm running on a half a tank right now. I had a long day. Brain's not functioning at 100%. And so, yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm really excited about this interview Friday. Oh, no, no, I don't get paid to be off. So, yeah, no bueno. I would have to take a vacation day to do that. Which, you know what? One of these days, there's gonna be something happening in the Capitol, and I'm gonna want to be a part of it. And that's the worst thing about working days. Is that I miss out on so many cool things that happen at the Capitol. It's like, crap, I'd really like to be there to be a part of this or that or the other. Maybe, I don't know, man. March 29th, 9 a.m., Representative Ron Hicks and others will speak. I might have to burn a vacation day that day. Maybe bring my camera along when it's all done. I can just take the camera somewhere and try to do some wildlife photography or something, depending on how long it takes. I might have to do that. Because I don't have any days off until, I don't have any more days off until, God, when is it? May, I think. Let me see if I can find it. I have my, here it is. Yeah, till the end of May, I don't have any other days off. Any vacation days scheduled. So maybe I'll have to. Waiting on test results on the 30th, you way off work. Yeah, I might have to getting off on a Tuesday would be no big deal. I'm going to put that in my phone now on the calendar. Let's see. Let's go change that to 9. Actually, I better make it 8 a.m. And then cannabis. Oh, my God. I can't spell. Cannabis. Not canna is, you freak. Phone doesn't want to spell cannabis. It must know things. There we go. Freedom. Rally. Not rocked. Can't type either, John. With gas at a gallon, you can ride in the back of my truck. Well, I could just I could drop my wife off at work and then hang out till 9 o'clock and it started, and then hang out at Hootie Pootie Pa. So yeah, it'd be great. But anyway, I just wanted to do a quick kind of. I just got my daughter sent me a thing saying, "Hey, somebody's looking for family photography here in Owensville. That'd be nice." She sent a link to my Facebook photography page. But anyway, I will. I'm going to jump off here and get this and just end this. I just wanted to do a quick kind of introductory video so I knew when that when people look this up on Friday, they'll be able to find Missouri Liberty Report. But I just wanted to do a quick video, kind of bring up that bill about changing the age. And I'm going to try to contact his office tomorrow, excuse me, and see if I can't get him on an interview at some time to explain this bill to me, because he's got a lot of things marked out, and I don't know if that means that he's taking all those things off or what's going on. We have to talk, check out 1,000. Okay, I'll check out 1,000 ripples. Sounds good. All right, everybody, that'll do it for this evening. John, thanks for checking in, bro. Appreciate it as always. And then, like I said, Friday, 6:30 p.m., Patrick Holland from the Missouri Freedom Initiative. That's going to be, Holy crap, it's going to be amazing. I think everybody's going to like hearing what this guy has to say because he is freedom all the way. Now, I have to I admitted to him as well. I told him that yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, you can't. It's hard to read out. I don't know if that means you can carry in all those spots now without getting in trouble, or I don't know. If they're removing that language that you can't get in trouble, but they move the age up to 8 or down to 18. I want to get this guy on, but I said I think Friday's going to be outstanding. Again, this guy has when you hear what he's done and what he's working on and the things he's been able to do, I think you're all really going to be impressed with this guy. I'm glad that this is just an accidental thing on Twitter. I made a comment. He commented. We had a little discussion, and then he private messaged me, and then I called him that next day after I got off work, and said I had about an hour conversation, and he was excited to come on and work with more people and kind of join forces. So I hope this means that this thing's going to blow up, because you guys deserve it. The guys that you guys have stuck by me on this live stream and the podcast, and you all deserve this, because without your help, if nobody tuned in, then I'd be wasting my time. You guys are here with me every week, making comments, sending me links, doing things like that. So this is as much for you as it is for me, because this guy's got a lot of things to teach us. And apparently down in like Texas County, they have meetings every so often where they have people, in the silver and gold movement, the preppers, the just anything, altcoins, all this stuff. They bring these speakers in. And there's about 300 people that attend. So I told him the next time they have one, if he's going to be there, I'll have a speaking spot, but it'll be me and him having a discussion. And hopefully that'll draw traffic in. And the more traffic that we get, maybe freaking out. What about encasers? What are we speaking about? But yeah, this could be really cool. At least I hope so, anyway. So yeah, John, I will I'm really thinking about going up there on March 29th to that, because I've yet, and maybe I'll just record it on my phone, so maybe I get some audio from the talk. Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about, preppers. Just like, in case shit happens, or not full-blown like, but just all kinds of different preppers. Just like all kinds of different people that are experts in certain things or whatever. They have those there, and all kinds of stuff. They have all kinds of different people who are knowledgeable in a certain field, and they'll come up and they'll speak. They said there like 300 people show up, so I told him, yeah, maybe next time I can make it, and then he and I can have a discussion in front of those 300 people, and I can blow off this public speaking fear that I have. I don't like getting up in front of a bunch of people and talking. Never have. Makes me nervous as a cat in a room full of rocking chairs. And I get a little. I get way anxious. So hopefully being up there with him and treating it like an interview, and just I get a little time with him to talk about things, that'll help me kind of get over that. Because at some point, if I really want to expand, jack of all trades, master at none. If I really want this thing to expand, I'm going to have to get myself out in front of people. That's just the way it is. You can't just sit behind a microphone all the time and expect people to come to you. Sometimes you have to go to them. And I'm going to have to get over this fear of public speaking, and I'm going to have to get over those things and make myself visible, and really hope that this, because I'll be honest, I don't see it happening in a million years. If I could monetize a podcast enough that I didn't have to go to work, that would be super duper amazing. Chances of that are slim to none. But if I ever could get to that point, that's not what I'm working towards. I'm working towards growing an audience. I'm working towards meeting people in a common cause and working with them and educating my audience about them. And you're a Toastmaster. Hey, dude, we need all kinds of people. We need all kinds of people. No problem with that. But yeah, at some point I'm going to have to get out in front of crowds and talk about topics that I'm passionate about, and get my name out there, get this podcast name out there to try to pull people in and build an audience. And if you get that, you get people who have intimate knowledge on certain subjects, and not only are they educating me, they're educating my audience. So it's something that I have to look at. It's a fear I have to get over, and just kind of go from there. But John, thanks again for watching. Again, appreciate all the new viewers. I hope that show up Friday night, or find this offhand. I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate those people that have stuck around with me this whole time, and we'll go from there. So take care, John, and we'll see you Friday night. And I think, again, you're going to be blown away by Mr. Patrick Collins. So take care, everybody, and we'll see you.